Turn up for fat loss, I'd probably do one right about now.
Joined again by the Shreditor, the first person to have 2 guest episodes. So
Yes.
there you go.
Yeah,
there we go.
There you
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, we'll send you a medal in the post.
Yeah, probably the biggest problem that coaches have within their business is content, right?
So I think people are just like, oh, I'm just not good on camera. And unfortunately, if you've chosen to be an online coach, it's kind of, you have to be online and you have to be creating content. So
It's like being a PT but being too scared to talk to people in the gym.
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to hinder you and hold you back so much.
And content creation takes time.
Can you just like talk through what you think would make just a generally a good lighting setup for most people?
it's probably the questions I get the most asked. I would always say with that, it's probably a case of
8 o'clock in the morning, I'll have fish and a rice cake.
All right, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Fish and a rice cake. And my voice is going, you know.
Yeah,
We've been doing that many episodes now. My voice is starting to
I
go.
was waiting for that. I'm Jake.
Yeah, we'll batter through it. I am Jake. I am Jake. I am
Jake as
Groot.
well.
That sounds like I was saying. Yeah, back with some, well, a little bit different.
Yeah,
It's-
we're not back with fitness content.
We're not talking fitness today, actually,
No.
is it? This is going to be a little bit more probably coaching related
Yeah.
than anything else.
So if you turn up for fat loss, I'd probably do one right about now.
But no, we're joined again by the Shreditor again, episode number 2. The first person to have 2 guest episodes. So there you go.
Yeah,
there we go.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Yeah.
wow, nice.
Yeah, we'll send you a
impressive.
medal in the post.
Yeah.
But no, we wanted to do an episode talking all about content. Because obviously you edit this podcast for us, you put all the clips out and everything like that. And you're going to have to take over. I don't know my voice. It's just got, yeah, it's just dry.
His voice is just broke.
I've been having this with check-ins all week. Like, I've been talking and for whatever reason, my voice has just been going.
It might be the hay
So-
fever. We'll blame it on the hay fever.
Maybe. Next batch of episodes, my voice is going to be like really deep. It's just going to break.
I'm doing.
No, but you take over and I'll
Hey.
cough.
Yeah, so basically, we wanted to just kind of, as we had you in the studio, and we know a lot of coaches listen to this, we just wanted to talk about kind of content, editing, that kind of stuff, because as we know, and as you all certainly know, probably the biggest problem that coaches have within their business is content, right? Is content in general. Now, although you are an editor, in fact, no, you're the Shreditor.
The Shreditor.
Yeah.
Only way you can address me now.
Pictures. I coached him.
Use promo code.
But no, it's one of them where like, I struggled with content. Certainly when I first came into it, was the biggest thing that I struggled with. You know, most coaches are probably decent coaches. It's the content side of things that they need to kind of clean up on. So I've been working with you, as we said, for nearly 2 years now. Nearly 2 years. Got to say, it's definitely one of the best things I've done. Just because, you know, one of the main things for me is when I film a video, or like we do this, as daft as it sounds, I hate hearing myself back. I hate looking at myself. I just hate it. Like, it's a really weird thing. So sending them off to someone, I remember sometimes I would send my videos to you and I'd be like, right, mate, it's really shit, but just kind of like do what you can with it kind of thing. And you send it back and it looked great. And I'd be like, you know, like just the way that you kind of piece them together. So yeah, but I couldn't do that because you're so like hypercritical and this and that, right? And it's just, whereas you just give it to someone to do it. So definitely been a huge saving in my business. So listen, if you are looking for an editor, Joe's the man. But outside of that, what do you see? Give us an overview what you think the kind of content creation is like within the fitness industry. Do you think am I right? Is it the thing that people struggle with the most and you see it all the time, or?
Yeah, I think it's, firstly, I think everyone hates the sound of their own voice and everyone hates how they look on camera. I don't think I've met a single person, especially when you start, I don't think you ever enjoy it. I think you just get more comfortable and used to it.
That's exactly it. Literally exactly it.
So if you're in that position and you kind of hate how you sound or you don't like how you look on camera, then it's kind of, you just got to kind of go through the motions of it. Unfortunately, it's the only way to kind of get through with it. Even like looking back at my own content when I was producing stuff 2-3 years ago, naturally I've got quite like a boring and monotone voice. So it was like, luckily I had kind of people around me at the time. It was like, right, you need to work on like your pacing, how you emphasize certain words and stuff. And it's like night and day now, the videos that I kind of look back on. So yeah, I think it's, I say it a lot, but I think content creation is a skill.
Mm.
You know, if you wanted to get better at playing the guitar, you'd probably play the
Play
guitar
the
a bit
guitar.
more. If you wanted to get better at a sport, you would naturally just keep turning up and playing it, and you'd get better over time. Whereas I think people are just like, oh, I'm just not good on camera.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you've chosen to be an online coach, it's kind of, you have to be online and you have to be creating content. So yeah, I think it's just going through that phase of not liking your content. And as I said, I don't think you ever get to the point where you love it. I think you just get more used to it.
I even remember coming here the first time and like being shit scared when I had like these cameras and lights on us.
Yeah, I mean, it was all different, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But you do get used to it. And I suppose, like you were saying, Joe, being an online coach and not being comfortable, not necessarily not being comfortable, but not actually putting yourself on camera and putting it out there. It's like being a PT, but being too scared to talk to people in the gym.
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to hinder you and hold you back so much.
And I think coaches as well, like you'll naturally say to people, like if you had a client come on board and they were scared of like using the equipment in the gym, you'd say, right, well, let's ease into it. Let's just try and use that. Why can't you apply that to your content? Why can't you just, right, let's just focus on, you know, recording one reel a week, for example, and then get naturally back, or even just filming a few videos and not posting them, and kind of ease yourself into it and just naturally. I think content, a massive thing is just momentum.
100%.
I don't know how you feel about it, but like for me, if I don't like create or anything for like a week or two, then it gets them really hard to then create and,
to get yourself back into it.
Yeah, so I think a
100%.
big part of it is momentum, and just keeping up that momentum makes it then a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely agree. I remember honestly the first video that I ever posted, in terms of like fitness at least, like it took me about 6 hours. I was doing it. I remember the video topic. It was on calorie banking for the weekend, right? It was fucking shit. And like, I was just looking at the camera. It took me about 6 hours to get like a 1 minute video put together, and I just didn't. I couldn't post it because I was like, this is awful. And I remember Louise was like, post it. No one cares. And I just remember thinking that, oh yeah, like nobody actually cares.
Well, I think
what
that's a good thing about content, isn't it? Is if you do a video, and because I think you'll know better than anyone, and I'm sure you'll agree, like perfectionism holds back a lot of coaches because like if it's not exactly how you want to say it, they're like, I'll redo it. Whereas it's content, it's social media. If you don't like it, just fucking redo it the next day. Like, it just gives you an opportunity to say it in a different light or to do it better.
100%. And I think two things on that. One, what you said is like when you film something, you always naturally feel like, oh, I could have done that better. I could have done that. Yeah. But then when you send it, I think that's the beauty. Like, I have someone who helps me with some of my videos because it's just like you think you haven't done as great, and then you get the edited version back and it's like, oh wow, that's actually like not too bad.
Yeah.
And then on the second part of that as well, the thing is with like content, you could spend infinite amount of time making it better, but there has to be a cross point where it's like, right, I just need to focus on getting the stuff out. So for example, even with the Shreditor series I've been doing, I set a timer every single episode, 1 hour. That's the maximum I'm allowed to spend on the voiceover, the script, maybe not the script, because I kind of build that out throughout like the week, or if I've got ideas, obviously I'll jot them down during the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of having that time limit of like, right, 1 hour to edit and stuff like that makes me then focus on getting the episode out.
Yeah.
And keeping up that consistency, because that's the main thing as well. And then naturally with that process, you then get faster at certain parts of it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, as you guys will know, because you edit your own stuff as well.
I think it was quite cool to hear, because like obviously you mentioned like the Shreditor episodes, it's a 30-40 second clip and it takes you an hour to put together, and you're an editor, right? I put up like a what I eat in a day kind of thing the other day, and it's like it was just like a fairly basic bit of content, like, but it was just like clips of my day, training, eating, etc. Again, that took me, people don't realize the time that goes into these things. Like, that was a 1 minute clip, less than that. I think it was like 53 seconds, like my bedroom game. And
Impressive.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Yeah, I'm improving. And I've lost train of thought now. But that took, like I said, about an hour and a half to piece together in the evening with scripts, getting the clips, because there was 26 clips there, and it's like literally some of those clips like 5 minutes long, and I needed 3 seconds of it. It's finding the right bits, putting it together, putting it in there, doing your voiceover, then sorting out the captions, putting it all together. And obviously mine aren't as good as yours, but it's all, I think, again, coaches don't realize actually content creation takes time.
Well, the 5,000 calorie food challenge that we did at the start of the year, I think that's a 10-minute, 26-second video, something like that. and it took me about 4 hours to edit it.
Yeah.
Not to mention the time that went into us filming it, planning it, organising
And it's
it.
the little things like, I don't know, if you had like a stopwatch timer, and because I watched the video, it's like trying to find out how to put a stopwatch timer in.
That was an absolute.
Yeah.
takes half an hour to find that sort of stuff out.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
then you're stopping mid edit to like YouTube. How do I do this? How do I do that? And you,
Yeah.
But the beauty of that is you're learning all the time, right?
You can help me with that because so what I did for that, because I didn't know how to do it and I couldn't find out, I literally got the timer up on my phone, screen recorded, and just let it run for an hour. I let it run for an hour, and I just had to keep tapping my screen every like 30 seconds so the screen didn't go off, and I just did that for an hour. I was doing other bits whilst it was going, and then I put that into the video and used it. But
On that, I'd probably I have a plugin that I use that you can basically just change the length of time and the colors and stuff like that. So plugins are
there's an easier way to do it.
there's probably a plugin out there.
And this is why you need an editor, because I don't.
Yeah, I'm just a plugin merchant. I don't actually know. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so it's just little things like that, and as you said, you're always learning kind of while you're doing it. And then naturally you kind of get faster at doing that, but then there's always that next thing you want to learn, and yeah, it kind of naturally happens like that. So don't think just because I'm an editor, like these things still take me time as well.
Yeah.
I'll still have like mind blanks where I'm like, wait, how do I cut? Obviously, I'm trying to think of an example, but like, how do I do something basic that I know I can do, but I completely forget? And then that's the beauty of you can just YouTube these things quick, and you kind of actively learn on that as well.
Yeah. But it's because it's again, you were saying it there, like online coaching. You know, I think people think it's just going to be coaching, and you put out a few posts, and you know, your just clients are going to come in. But actually, no, like we probably spend more time creating content than we do coaching.
I think maybe for us now it's
maybe
probably
not
equal,
anymore.
maybe not, but certainly in the earlier days.
In the earlier days,
Yeah.
like so when you're building up your client base, like you should almost see yourself as a content creator more than a coach.
I think that's the
extent.
phase I'm going through now, because I've been kind of like inconsistently consistent with posting and stuff, I would say, since I started the business. But this is probably like my most consistent period.
Yeah.
And one, again, it is momentum, but two, again, having someone who helps me with some of my editing really does help, because then it's like you kind of have that accountability. Same with what you do with like coaching clients.
Just about
as well.
to say that, yeah.
You have that accountability where it's like, right, I need to send X amount of videos to Joe or whoever you work with per week. So you make sure you get the content done. Whereas when you're editing all yourself, it's naturally easier to go,
I'll just do it tomorrow.
I'll post it tomorrow, and then that then builds up.
Never happens. Yeah, 100%. Like that was one of the reasons I started with you, because it was that the exact same thing that we preach about to our clients is the accountability. Like I know how to edit. Like I can actually edit it to a decent standard, but actually, you know,
Funny enough, someone sent me your reel and was like, "Oh, did you edit this? Because it was really good."
Yeah. So like, you know, having a date to send videos to someone, like it's again, it's the same reason that we ask for check-ins. It's just that accountability thing.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know, like, what's your biggest irritant of like things you see online coaches do with editing, like do wrong? Because I think I know what mine would be, but I want to know what yours is.
Biggest irritant.
What was that question that I've just...
What's like the most irritating thing you see people do with their editing of videos?
If they're editing their own videos, you mean?
Yeah.
I would say.
Well, you could say it if they're sending them to you, but you might want to upset your client.
No, well, because there was 2 points of it. Is one where like it's not irritating, but I suppose when people like send me a video and it's like they don't know the difference of how long that takes versus how long another thing takes, right? It can look quite simple, but as we just mentioned, it's like some things might take hours. But probably the more the better with the edits is that like I think every time I edit a piece of content or like I use like a graphic or I use an effect, there's a purpose behind the effect. It's not just a case of, right, let's just keep adding transitions, let's keep throwing in sound effects, let's keep throwing stuff in. Because then you've got too many ingredients.
Too much going on.
Too much going on, and it's that none of them really kind of serve a purpose in the edit.
Yeah.
So I think probably that is just adding stuff in for the sake of it, because a lot of the short form video is like, oh, you need something happening every 3 seconds to keep someone's attention. But if you look at like, I don't know who you guys consume mainly, but for me, like say it's like Alec Hormozy, it's like, he could talk for 20 minutes, no edits, no cuts, and I'd watch it because I know that the payoff of that, I actually care about what he's saying. So the base is actually talking about, again, it's challenging with fitness because you kind of feel like you have to talk, and realistically with fitness, there's only so much you can talk about. It's kind of more than changing the packaging of how you talk about it. But yeah, I think that's probably the thing where I'm just like.
So basically, what you're saying is like, make sure your content's decent because the edit isn't going to save a shit piece of content.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd focus more so on your scripting, on your like shot selection, lighting as well. Even like lighting's probably more important than camera equipment and stuff like that as well. The phones like nowadays are just crazy good. So yeah, focus on those things first, and just don't like think that you have to edit things in because okay, people's attention spans are getting worse. But again, if it's a good piece of content, then people will watch it regardless of theirs. The only exception to that probably I would say is just to make sure obviously you have captions in there. It's something like 85% of people on Instagram
don't listen to
stuff.
I find that mind-boggling. Like,
because it makes sense though, because it's like you're out and about, and you're not like maybe I haven't got always
people
your
on the
headphones
tube
in.
or like in the office or some shit, like, and they just kind of sat twiddling.
On that, actually, you just mentioned about how, like, having a good lighting setup, and I know that for me, when I was first started filming, like I didn't know what a good lighting setup was, and I'd just like go on YouTube and watch quite a few different videos. So can you just like talk through what you think? I know it depends on the room that you're in and the light coming in, but what you think would make just generally a good lighting setup for most people?
Yeah, so I think the first thing you need, probably you're going to have like one kind of main spot that you're filming, right? So I think that's the base. And then you've got two main factors, is that if you're going to use natural light or if you're going to use like a key box light, like what we've got here, right? So if you're going to use natural light, obviously you kind of want it front facing. The only problem with natural light, I have used it in the past and sometimes it is good, but you're then depending on like that. Obviously the natural light fluctuates a lot throughout the day. So if you can't always film at the same time of day, then that kind of creates a bit of inconsistency. Again, you can't control the light. So it is good. If you are going to use like a window or something like that, then yeah, I would say make sure it's front facing is probably the main thing with that. There'll always be exceptions to that. Obviously, any lighting experts will probably tell me off because there's different scenarios. But if you're just kind of doing like, I'm in my head, I've got like the head talking videos, right?
Yeah.
But the second thing for that is I would probably focus, if you can, to have like the controllable lights. So first thing is just blackout curtains. You want every single light turned off to start from like a blank canvas. And then from that, I would get a good solid key light. A lot of people tend to use like the ring lights and stuff, which I don't mind. I prefer probably like a soft box like this.
I use a softbox.
They're a little bit more, obviously, like a bigger setup, and maybe the ring lights are just a bit more accessible, so people would still use them. But I just think they give like a bit of a nicer look as well. You can probably control them a bit more, and you can get some pretty good ones for like a pretty.
They're not expensive. The one I got wasn't expensive.
No, like there's one that I always recommend to people. It's like £50 on Amazon or something. So that would be your main thing. So that again, you can either have I see it like visually. So you could either have the key light or the softbox, whatever you want to call it. You either have it directly behind the camera and sort of slightly above and pointing downwards towards you. Yeah. And that would just create like a natural feel on the entire face. Or you can have it like a 45 degree, which basically creates this like,
it's like a bit more of a cinematic.
Yeah, it's like a triangle, they say, like on your eye here.
Yeah.
And then that creates like the contrast, like with more of a shadow of your face. So those are the main things. And then if you've got like, so yeah, you've got the blackout curtains, softbox light, either behind the camera. If you haven't got many other lights, I'd probably have it directly behind the camera. If you've maybe got a bit more lights, you could probably have it 45 degrees and then play around with like the practical lighting, which is probably the questions I get the most asked is like, what light should I buy? Obviously, we've got kind of like the blue ones behind me here and stuff. I would always say with that, it's probably a case of, I think coaches will try and get like don't be afraid to spend on a bit of a nicer light. I think, obviously, again, it depends on like where you're starting out. You can obviously get like good affordable ones, but I think if you constantly try and like get the cheapest light and get the cheapest stuff, then naturally it's probably not going to look how you want it to look, and then you're not really going to want to use it. Versus if you just invest that bit more, then you might have a light that's a lot better and you actually enjoy using it, and then that kind of creates the excitement around content as well. I think was a big part of that.
It
as well.
improves the standard of content and stuff.
Yeah. And it's not necessary. But yeah, in terms of like a lighting setup, I would probably say those are the main things. So get like a blacked out room. Again, if you're using the natural light, then don't do that. because then no one's gonna be able to see a video. But yeah, if
You're
you
talking in the
yeah, just a pitch black room. But yeah, if not, then yeah, get some blackout curtains. Completely start with a blank canvas. It's probably the easiest way to think about it. And then yeah, get a good key light. Again, you can get some. I can send you. I don't know if you use like the show notes or something. I can send one that you can put in there if anyone is watching, or just message me on Instagram. I'm happy to help out. But yeah, I would get that, and then you can kind of play around with they're called like practical lights, so the blue LEDs or whatever your brand colors are and stuff like that. And then you can get creative with it.
Cool. So we've probably haven't gone that much longer. So I'll probably kind of finish it and just say just kind of like your top tips to an online coach who might be making a bit of content, maybe not being that consistent. Just what would you say to them? Doesn't have to be just about editing. This is just content creation in general. What would your top tips be to that person?
I'll speak on the editing first, just because obviously it's what I do and it's mainly in my head. I would say edit on your laptop. I know Dan talks about that quite a lot as well.
100%.
Yeah.
I think it's such a big thing. It's like, for me as well, obviously, like the phone editing apps are really good, especially like CapCut or something like that. You can do a lot on your phone. I just couldn't take it serious if I was editing on my phone, because obviously you've got the natural like getting distracted with social media or WhatsApps or what have you. So that would be a big part. The editing software you use, every single time like I put out like a good edit or something like that, it's like, oh, what software are you using? And it's like, it's just that kind of thing of, it's probably the same as like fitness. It's like you spend 10 months dieting and then you get the end result. It's like, oh, what diet did you follow?
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't matter what editing software. I would say on it, because I don't even recommend the one I learned on Adobe. If anyone does want to know.
Was that Rush?
Premiere Pro, and then
Pro.
dabbling a little bit with After Effects now, which is a whole different kettle of fish. But like, that's not the one I would recommend, because it's probably the least user friendly.
See, I use, for anyone listening coach wise, I'm not the most tech savvy, and I use CapCut, and I've paid for the Pro. It's fucking brilliant.
CapCut's probably the one I recommend, because it's the most user friendly.
Yeah.
Whereas Premiere Pro is like here for user friendly. When I first learned, I got taught. CapCut didn't even exist.
Yeah.
So it was the one I got taught on. So I naturally just kind of stuck with that. But CapCut's definitely the most kind of like user friendly. Then you've got like Final Cut, which is good as well, especially if you've kind of like started using iMovie, because it's quite similar to that from what I understand. And that would be the main thing. Just make sure you're editing on the laptop.
But that's the thing. Like, so just to interject, I learned on Premiere Pro, and then I switched to Final Cut. So I use Final Cut at the minute.
Okay.
You learn on Premiere Pro. You use CapCut. The point earlier is, like you're saying, it doesn't really matter what software you use. You just need to get good at using it.
Yeah. Get comfortable using it. There's probably if you can't do something in the edit, it's probably not the software. It's probably just that you don't know how.
Yeah.
It's most of the softwares can do it. There'll be a way around it. Some things might be more convenient than others, but it's just part of it.
Cool. Yeah. Anything else? Anything just for like outside of editing?
I would say
just get started.
Yeah, get started. Consume less fitness stuff. I know like
that's a really good one. That's a really good one.
Because like even like for the Shreditor series, I've spoken about it a lot. But like a lot of that inspiration was from like a guy called Miles.
He's fucking brilliant.
He does these like really sarcastic vlogs in London, and he just works in finance. And that was kind of the inspiration for the Shreditor series. It was like, right, kind of follow that model, but how can I make it fitness and editing related? So
that's a big one actually. Even because me and Jacob started trying to make some more like spoofy style reels. We've only posted one so far, but it did really well. And like obviously it's got it's fitness based, but I'd like to. I've not got the ideas through watching fitness stuff. Do you know what I mean? I've tried to get it from different things. I'm like, how can I put a fitness spin on it?
Yeah.
And I think people just watch fucking fitness content all day, and then the issue is everyone's content sounds the same, it looks the same, and it's like, just watch other types of content. Like you say, I can pick up that Miles's thing in your stuff a little bit, because even just like the drops of humour and this and that, and it's like, right, it's just kind of learning.
Yeah, or even like TV series. I don't know if you've ever watched White Gold.
Oh,
yeah, White Gold's
White Gold.
Brilliant.
Why have they not made a season 3? Well, I know why, but it's heartbreaking because the guy got accused of... Anyway. But so God, that's season 3. But I take a lot of inspiration from that, and I want to interject that sort of style, if you obviously know it, where it's like he's kind of like filming, and then he'll then speak to the camera for a second, and then it kind of go back to the show. So I want to kind of get that style in, and it's constantly kind of like thinking of like, I like how they did that, or like on Instagram I have like a saved folder where I'll use it as like inspiration reels.
Yeah.
and I wouldn't say any of them are editing related or fitness related. They're all kind of just like weird comedian stuff or stuff like that. So yeah.
Definitely.
Lovely stuff.
That kind of wraps us up. We're out of
It is.
time. But
where
so, I
can
was gonna
people?
say,
Oh, okay. I'll let you finish.
where can people find you?
So yeah, probably mainly on Instagram. I've recorded some YouTube videos as well, so I'm gonna get on there, which is exciting. But yeah, mainly on Instagram. It's just at Shreditor Joe.
Pictures.
Yeah, but it's brilliant as well because I put it on my story the other day. It's like someone, the spot DMs you get, and someone put, "Hi, Shreditor Joe." Like, I can get used to this. Yeah, so mainly on Instagram at Shreditor Joe, and then if you've got any questions, obviously just message me. I always respond to the DMs, and that'll probably be the main spot.
Wicked. Yeah, if you need any editing content out or anything, drop Joe a message. He knows his shit.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah,
Again.
thanks for having me.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yep. And like, share,
Subscribe.
all that jazz.
Bebo.
Yeah. MySpace?
MySpace. Yeah, fuck it, do that as well.
Was it another
Definitely
one?
not part of my generation.
Like, who the fuck are these guys? MSN.
Yeah.
Right. Nice one, guys.
Catch you in the next
In a
one.
bit.